What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. As you can probably tell from the thumbnail, today we're going to be putting a real fuel system on the Jeep and getting rid of the gas can that's hanging from the bumper so we can actually drive it around and see how bad it's broken, why it was at the scrapyard. So let's go over the parts I got, and then I have a lot of work, so we'll dive right into it. All right, before we get into messing with the new tank and trying to get that installed, I want to show you what I took off the Jeep that must have been the fuel system. I have no idea. This propane tank, I don't know. This was bolted down in that corner there, and then it had a rubber line running down. I gotta crawl under here. This is the poor man's creeper. If you know, you know. All right. So it came down here, came through the bed. That's where the tank is supposed to be. And then I had this line. I already took it out. I put it back up here just to see how it was before so I can run the new one. But it had that 5/16 line, and then it had a rubber hose running under the oil pan to the fuel pump, which is over there. Not ideal. I don't know how we're gonna do that yet, but it's not doing that. And this, look how funny this is. That is what 30-year-old fuel looks like. It's rock hard. It's not coming out. It's ridiculous. So, yeah, that was the original fuel system. So it had to be scrapped. There was nothing to use there. So, all right, so the parts that we're gonna be using are a fuel cell from Amazon. It was like 150 bucks. This is gonna be a budget fuel system. I was gonna go with the BJ's off-road one. They offer an exact OEM replica of the original tank in plastic with the sending unit and everything, but it was gonna come out to like almost $500, and I don't know what we're gonna use this for yet. And then I kind of got around to looking at it, and I was like, you know, a fuel cell might look pretty sick in the bed of this. It might just bring the whole thing together. I don't know. It's gonna look cool, I think, now. So got this. This is like 150 bucks. We've got some 5/16 copper nickel fuel line, and then just some rubber 3/8 line that we're gonna have to use to get from the fuel cell to the hard line. It's just old stuff. It's just suction pretty much. We're not working with high pressures because I was gonna get, you know, braided stainless line, but that's just with AN fittings, but it's really, there's no point. Quality hose clamps, the fuel injection ones, just because they're better. They don't smash the line like the worm clamps do. And then we've got, where are they at? I did get AN fittings just to go from the tank. So we've got a AN10 adapter to AN6, a little 90-degree elbow. We're gonna put the hose on, clamp that on, and then we have a vent, rollover vent, whatever. AN10, you need that. I don't want to bomb. Yeah, so this is a 20-gallon tank, and these came factory 17. So either way, it's gonna be better. It's gonna look pretty sweet, I think. And yeah. Also, I made these little aluminum spacers. It's just 2 1/4 inches long aluminum tube, because those are gonna go right here and run the bolt through it. It's not gonna look the greatest, but it's better than stacking a million washers until I can think of something to do. I pretty much need like a square tube of aluminum, because I'm not cutting into the bed. Like, this is, you're supposed to cut a notch out, let this go through the bed, and then it's underneath, and yeah, it'd probably look really clean, but I'm not cutting in this bed because it's solid and I don't want to. So we're gonna space this out, run bolts through the bed, get this part. You can tell it's a sump style, so it comes down. So we'll get that so it's all leveled out. And yeah, we'll get right into it because I gotta run lines and figure out how to bolt this thing down. So, all right, so the tank's in the truck, bolted down, dead center. The spacers I made, it doesn't look as bad as I thought it would. It's keeping this off the ground. So I think I'm gonna roll with that for now. If I think of something better, I can always change it out. But it bolts down tight. So now I'm gonna get our fittings on it. So we have an 10 to AN6 adapter, and then an AN6 90. So this will go on there just to help with the angle of it. Well, it's supposed to. All right, whatever, there you go. So that'll go on there. We'll run a fuel hose around through and through one of those holes, and then from there, hardline it. All right, so we'll tighten up our adapter here, a reducer, whatever you want to call that. All right, 90. And then the vent will just go right up here. And this is like a union, pretty much. So you just snug that up. You don't gotta go crazy. All right, snug up to AN6. Right, and then we'll run, this is the fuel sending wire, we'll run that through the bed and a loom along the fuel line and tap into the factory sending unit wiring. All right, I hope you guys can see down here. So I'm thinking there's factory clips up here still. So I'm gonna try to run the line through that and then just fish my hose through and connect it right here. And then hard line it pretty much all the way there. And then the sad thing is I'm gonna have to flex to the pump because the fitting, the flare fitting, like doesn't exist. So at least for now, it's gonna have a little piece of flex in there, but then I'll probably end up finding the flare fitting, making that work. So I'm gonna get this run up here and see if we can figure something out. All right, so you can see I got the factory line up here still. I'm just trying to copy it pretty much, make it somewhat close to what it was. It won't be perfect, but it'll be close. This copper nickel stuff is just great. We gotta do a pretty hard bend here. Update. Here's where it ends. Sorry, there's where it ends. Factory clips coming out a little. I'm gonna run the rubber hose through that hole. And then right now I have zip ties, just kind of holding it tighter so I can bend it. I'm gonna get some clamps. That's the one thing I forgot. It's solid right now, but we need some clamps to screw into here to hold this permanently, but runs right up the frame how the old one was and flares out. Another thing that it's going to be hard is running the line around the motor. This is where, there's the pump. So they had the line just coming off there, off right there, under the oil pan and into the pump. I see why they did it now. This is going to be hard. There's nothing to, can't drill into the motor and into the block and hold the line. So we'll see how that goes. I might have to dig into the manual, find out how the factory did it, but If anything, we'll rubber line under the oil pan, just like I talked bad about, but you gotta do what you gotta do. So I'm gonna finish up the back half from the tank, and then we'll move to the front. All right, guys, it is another day, as you can tell, about a week later. Some stuff came up, and we weren't able to finish the fuel lines, so we're gonna try and knock them out today. I got the manual out, and I just wanna, so you guys can kind of visualize what the problem I'm having is. The front line on the 327, to get to the pump is on the passenger side. The line, that's where the exhaust is, so the lines are running down the driver's side. The hard line actually runs behind, I'll show you, behind the pulley on the block and along the oil pan. And I can't recreate that line because I don't have the right fitting. I can't use rubber, it's not gonna be right. So here's our pump over here. I can't even really show you, but the line is supposed to run behind that, down the oil pan, and as you can see, that's the factory location of the hard line. And then rubber meets the two for, I'm assuming the engine vibrating, it just made sense. So the problem is the fitting that goes into the, what's the word I'm looking for? You know what I mean. The fitting that threads into the fuel pump, I can't find it anywhere. It's too small for a 5/16 line. And I contacted a guy I know with one of these that's still original, 327, and there's like an adapter coming out of the pump for the 5/16 line to thread into. And I can't find it anywhere. So I'm gonna be a hypocrite, and like I said earlier in the video, I was making fun of the last owner for running a rubber line under the oil pan. We're gonna do that because I gotta move this thing. It's in the way, and we're coming back to it. We're gonna get back to it and change that out once I've looked everywhere. I can't find the adapter. I'm gonna find it online, get that ordered. We'll run the little line and find the right screws to do the clamps on the side of the oil pan, how it was from the factory, and it'll all be set. But it's not a huge deal. I'm just gonna throw that barb fitting back in, run the line under the oil pan again. Just hard line under, over to that. And we're gonna finish this up. But here's the manual. This is not for the 327, but it's laid out the same way. It's the pictures on my phone, I can't show you. It's the exact same line setup. This is what I'm talking about. So yeah, that's the problem I'm having. So we're just gonna knock this out. I'll find the right piece and we'll come back to it at a later date. And then we'll finish this up today. All right, guys, we're done from the line to the pump. I know, right? Super clean install. I'm just joking. All right, we'll get back to this. Now we have to finish up the tank and the bed. Okay, so we got the lines hooked up back here, filter in line, and then I have one after the pump to the carburetor as well. Next, real quick, since this is the cheapest filter Amazon had, it's got that anti-slosh foam in it. And pretty much the only bad thing on the reviews was that it breaks down from the gas and clogs the filters up and just falls apart. So I'm gonna pull that out real quick because I could care less if I can hear gas sloshing. This thing barely has an exhaust. So we're gonna rip that out of there and then fill it up and try to start this thing up with an actual fuel system, not a gas can from the bumper. And I'll pick back up the camera when we are done with that. Alright guys, so off camera I did stick the vacuum cleaner down in there because obviously some of that foam fell apart. It's clean all around and all the hose clamps are tight. So while the fittings are tight, we're going to try to put some gas in this thing and pray that we don't hear it leaking anywhere. Try to splash a little bit of gas in the car to get it to fire. And yeah, this isn't gonna work. This is all I have looks just, yup. Oh, that's too much. Perfect. So far, no leaks. The only leak we did have was right there. When they already tightened up the clamp. I know you guys can't hear me. She's sucking from the tank. Well, that is a win, guys. It's all done. I would love to drive it now that we actually have a tank. And hold on, you can't hear me. Just hold on. Okay, now that the extremely obnoxious noise is off, it's done. That went, well, not done. We gotta mess with the front, but for now, it's done. And we got a fuel tank in the truck, and I can actually take this thing down the road. So that's the next move pretty much. The only problem is now is the axle is still a little messed up. I got the wrong bearings, so I need to change them out and go back through the axle. That won't take long. So I'll swap the bearings out, and then next video we'll probably do an actual drive on the road with this thing, because I do have brakes. So that's the only thing holding us up is all the end play in the axle, and that's a different story. So stay tuned for the first drive video on this. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If it helped you in any way, or you just enjoyed it, please consider subscribing. It means a lot. There's a lot to come on this thing. Obviously, I'm looking at a set of ridiculous wheels that I'm not going to show you that I'm going to be putting on this. And once we figure out the important stuff, I just couldn't pass this deal, and I'm looking at them. I had to tell you about them. Ridiculous. So we got axles left. We got a lot of work to do. So there's a lot to come. So please, if you enjoyed it, if you're an FSJ guy, if you think this truck's just cool and garbage, if you think I'm just weird, subscribe. I'll link my Instagram down in the description for anyone. If you want most of the pictures from when I got this, the pictures of the truck from way back, my other truck and the Jeep and Audi, whatever, it doesn't matter. Take a look at that, follow me over there. But thank you for watching overall. Peace.